Good morning. I'm Matt Sanders, Columbia Daily Tribune City Editor. And of course, with me is a familiar face, Joe Walljasper, Sports Editor. I brought Joe with me today because, of course, Mizzou had a couple of big wins over the weekend, one in football and one in basketball. Even though in football, only 50,261 people actually bought tickets to the game. If you want to read about the effect that low ticket sales is having on the athletic department, be sure to read a story that we published this weekend by Rudy Keller. It was in Saturday's edition and posted online that day. It wasn't the lowest attendance of the season, so that's a good sign at least. But anyway, Joe can talk a little bit about what coverage sports has today in regard to last night's basketball win and Saturday's football win.
Right. Well, Missouri obviously beat Vanderbilt 26-17 on Saturday. That broke an 11-game SEC losing streak. So there's that.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily pretty. They missed a whole lot of kicks of all stripes, but and left some points on the board, but did win the game. The defense played impressively, and Drew Lock played impressively. Also, I think Demarie Crockett, the freshman running back, has a chance to be maybe one of the best seasons ever for a true freshman running back at Mizzou, and there's been some good ones. So that was positive. The basketball team had their regular season opener against Alabama A&M and won in a rout 99-44. Kind of the big story there was another freshman. Frankie Hughes looked really good. He scored the most, 23 points, which is the most by a freshman in his debut, tied Steve Stepanovich for most all time. So he's kind of a source of optimism, I think. He looked really good for Mizzou. And then the soccer team loses at Kansas in the first round of the NCAA tournament. It went to double overtime, and the soccer team loses. And then other happenings of the weekend, Mizzou-related, Tyron Woodley, the former wrestler, retains his UFC title belt. It was called a majority draw. Two of the judges scored it a draw. One of them had Woodley winning, so he keeps that belt on the UFC card. And then Carl Edwards, we already knew he was advancing. Now we know who else is in the four-car Final Four that will determine the championship next week. And that will be Kyle Busch and Joey Logano, along with Carl Edwards and Jimmy Johnson.
All right. So, of course, you can find all the coverage from MU football over the weekend on our website now. That was in yesterday's edition. But you can also look for coverage of some of these other things in today's edition, in particular the basketball game, the win over Alabama A&M. In news, got some interesting news breaking this morning. Representative Kip Kendrick is pre-filing an ethics bill. He plans to hear him say it, he plans to try to hold Governor-elect Eric Greitens to his campaign promises to clean up Jeff City. We also have a permanent president named for Tolton Catholic High School and some other stuff going on that you can find in today's print edition and online at www.columbiatribune.com today. Of course, you can always reach us through Facebook, Twitter, and through our email accounts.